done with the book, because like I said at the beginning, the idea of unmuting your mic is something I've also put together in a book. I've called the book Unmute Your Mic, right? But what I've done with it is to also split it into A to Z, right? I'm joining from Benin City, and I expect to learn how to unmute my mic for the modern world. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Augustine. I think that is powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the idea is, Daniel said, adventure capital and audacity is strength. Awesome. Oh, PK is here already, guys. There's no time to speak English. I'm just going to accept him right away. Thank you so much for staying, guys. And if there are people that have left, if you can notify them, please do. Whoa, PK is here. PK.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining, sir.
With God.
See you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. At first, I said, okay, because we already know this is a season of birthday for you. We're not even meant to disturb you at all.
It's okay. Okay, the work continues.
The work continues. We want to say happy birthday once again to you. We celebrate you as a people, as a generation. Guys, please just celebrate PK for us. Love up on him today. Thank you so much, sir, for all that you for all that you do for us as a people. We just want to say we love you and we celebrate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tops. Thank you, people. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work that you are doing, Tops. Thank you for putting yourself out and insisting on the path that you are designing. It's not easy to take a stand and to choose to be a pathfinder and use your own life to pioneer and create a trail for others to follow. And I think that's how what you are doing is represented. So well done. And
thank you. Thank you, sir. All that we know, all that we're learning, we're actually learning from you. So it's such a privilege to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
The conversation is, I mean, we've been doing a lot of introductory and preliminary assessment just before you came in.
Okay.
Trying to put the word unmute your mic, positioning for the big moments. The idea, what does the word unmute your mic mean for different people? Because different people at different levels in their life need different things for their next level.
Correct.
Their big is different things to them. For a lot of people, their focus is really in building something as a startup founder. For some of them, their next level is really in career, getting that next global job. For some people, in the path of purpose, in working in the alignment of their God-ordained destiny and all of that. So it means that big moments for every one of us means different things. And muting mic is really relevant across board. So I really want to start, from that foundation. What to you, PK, unmute your mic? What does it really mean?
So the idea is that every human being is born with three things, right? And those three things are essentially the definition of your mandate. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you do, but at some point you will have to take responsibility for these three things. And essentially they are your message as an individual, the platforms that carry that message, and the products that will be shared from that message. So your life is message, platform, products. And most people never really appreciate that, because the only way they think that they have a message is when they are starting a church, or they are starting some motivational work, or writing a book, or even starting a business, or doing something on their own. What they forget is that this is not something that comes into your life because you took a decision to do something. This is something you are born with, right? Regardless of your point of expression, it's natural. It's pretty much existential. So your duty is to gain understanding of your unique message, right? And every human being on the face of the earth is either starting something or partnering with those who are starting something. And all of what we call working for someone, excuse me, all of what we call working for someone is essentially partnering on a big idea. That's what it is. And when you see working for someone as a loss or some disadvantage or a compromise or lesser version of yourself within a particular season, you are mistaken. And what is going to happen to you is through that season, you'll be suboptimal. You will miss the most critical, most important, most urgent impressions and connections of that season because you are busy coping as opposed to thriving, right? So you are either working with someone, as in partnering with that person, or you are starting something. There are only two people in the world at any point in time. It's those who start and those who partner with those who start. So you must elevate your mind to understand that when you when you seemingly work with someone, you are partnering with the person and the person is not your boss. Now, the person can represent himself as your boss. Society, the culture can all represent the person as your boss, but your real boss is life. And life doesn't pay salaries and it doesn't pay wages. Life pays in due season. So it doesn't matter how they behave or how they are acting or how they are labeling themselves or how they are branding themselves or choosing to associate with you. What is important is your own CIA, what I call CIA, credible, independent actions. You see, that is what is most important. Whether you are working on your own, starting something, or you are working with someone, partnering, the common denominator, the recurring decimal is the CIA. The fact that you can consistently take credible, independent actions. Now, so many people can live 1,000 years twice and not be able to find that inner strength to focus on CIA. CIA is probably the difference in people when it comes down to it. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how less talented you are. It doesn't matter who you know or who you don't know, where you've been or where you will never be. It doesn't matter where you schooled or where you have not schooled, who gave back to you, whether it's a Bill Gates or is a pepper seller somewhere in Accra or in Conakry or in Abuja or Lagos. What is most important is that somehow you will find the intelligence, either by fault or default or by some form of influence. You will find the intelligence and the discipline to express CIA, credible, independent action, right? And once you do that, first of all, a rebellion rises on your inside that begins to reject every negative label and every negative association and every negative expectations of people around you, right? Particularly the disempowering events of your upbringing. The parents who gave back to you, where they gave back to you, the type of assumptions they held so dear, what they poured into you that has become your own program, right? Because nobody is self-made. We are all products of influences. And if you have the seeming misfortune of being born to parents who themselves miss their own message, miss their own platforms, and have missed their own products, they are going to unconsciously recycle that disadvantage and sit it in your own life in the name of training. Now, what a lot of parents have missed is that they rarely train children for the world, right? They train children for their own home. So a research has shown that over 80% of parents never train their children or correct their children for doing what is wrong. They correct them for doing what they don't like, right? And I'll take that again. Over 80% of parents never correct their children for doing what is wrong. They correct their children for doing what they don't like. Right? In other words, they are training their children for their home, not for the world. So your children can get so better in obeying all your rules, and your rules are never enough because there's always something bigger than the experiences you are having, no matter who you are. And so if you limit your curriculum to what you know and what you understand, and you force your children to abide and swim only within that curriculum, You have kept them suboptimal. You have reduced their entire life to who you are. In fact, I tell people that even your own purpose, your life is so bigger than your personal purpose. You have to understand that. That if you say, oh, you are so focused on your purpose, you're going to miss so much in life. Because you have to partner with people, you have to collaborate. Your purpose is not enough to define your existence. It is your purpose in partnership with the purposes of other people that will define your existence. So knowing your purpose at a level that keeps you so focused that you are blind to that of other people actually cuts you off your ultimate power and your highest, power. And so the moment you understand that, you have to begin to reject those labels, right? That tells you when to talk, how to talk. Like I was in a room the other day and I was speaking to, I was actually in a plane the other day on my way to Nigeria. Right, I was on the plane. Of course, it's business class, and then you find people trying to be psychedelic, and and I met someone who had flown me to Ekiti State one time for a conference, and the person to get us to Ekiti State, because I said I can't sit in the car for 4 hours to Ekiti. At that time, I just could not. There was a lot of things going on in Nigeria at that time, and I insisted. The person had to go hire a private jet. Had to hire a private jet to move us from Lagos to Ekiti State and move us back. And since then, for some reason, and I have that bad habit, I just didn't connect again. I just lost contact with the guy. And this is a high impact gentleman. This is somebody doing so much of the work to afford to fly us with a private jet unplanned. He must know what he's doing, right? But somehow I lost contact. And then here I was in the plane. The guy just, walked past me and I said, I know this guy. So I stood up to say hello to him. I just tapped him at the back and he turned to me. I was like, but this is business class cabin. So it's not like a mansion. Yeah. So he just turned and screamed, wow, Mr. Junior, wow. And then he hugged me and I hugged him. I started talking. And the guys sitting by us were trying to talk so quietly. So they were very uncomfortable with that. But you see, you know what they are. And I'm not in any way putting down what they are dealing with. But if you change our skin color to white, right? If we're Caucasians in that room, those two guys will not have a problem, right? They will understand that two white people are catching up. But because we are people like them, their flight is coming to Nigeria. They could hear our accent. They know we are like them. You see, it is easy. You see, wisdom is powerful. Intelligence is powerful. But you have to be careful not to express them against the weak, because that becomes bullying, right? And so these guys, in their own smallness, thought that letting us know that they needed a quiet room and that they were having a conversation was strength. This is them trying to use their own little capacity to bully us. Wow. You see, unfortunately, we knew better. And, I just looked at them and, I didn't even apologize because I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was a moment of exclamation and they should deal with that. Because I knew where their reality was, I didn't even respond. But one of them was humble enough to come meet me later to say, when they raised alarm, I didn't apologize. And I said, I hear you. And I held his hands and I told him, because I knew you were being weak in that moment. You were being weak. He said, I was being weak. I said, yeah, I really think you were being weak. So he said, how do you mean? And I explained to him. And he was very grateful, very, very grateful, because it's my turn to educate him and elevate him from his point of weakness, which he thought was strength, because he was dealing with low self-esteem on that flight. White people on the same flight were screaming all day. This guy didn't have a problem. These guys were talking, gisting, their voices were all over the place. This guy didn't have a problem. There's just a way that error can look right in the face of your low self-esteem. You come into a room, you bring your voice down. It's not that you are obeying any form of ethical process. You are just, not sure you should be in the room. You are just the one unsure of yourself. And so you are self-regulating without demand. You are obeying laws that are not defined. That's what's going on with you. So you keep quiet, you don't talk. Nobody's asking you not to talk. There's no rule that says we should not talk here. But your own emptiness can self-regulate you even when there's no demand. Even when there's no need on regulation, you can begin to regulate yourself. You can begin to sabotage yourself instantly, right? And so all of these things come from how we are brought up, the programs that run in our lives, the unwritten scripts, right? All of those unwritten programs that are hidden scripts that are running in our lives, governing our behavior, governing our thinking. And it could be from the environment you grew up in, or the school you went to, the teachers that you were exposed to, you know, and all of that, you know. So a rebellion has to be able to say to yourself that a lot must exist in me that can't be right for where I'm going, right? Definitely a lot will exist in you that are necessary for where you are going, right? But a lot is existing in people that are necessary for where you are going. But a lot is equally existing in people that you don't need for where you are going, but they don't know. So everybody's going to force what they know on you. It's like you go to a market with $10. Even if you go to a market with $10, somebody will bring some shoe worth $500 to you. They don't care how much you have. They don't care how much you don't have. They just want to sell. So that you have the money or you don't have the money. So if you don't know what you came to buy, you will leave the market with something else. You can even be owing by the time you are leaving the market. Because you don't know what you want. They say if you don't know what you want, if you don't know where you are going, every bus stop looks attractive, right? Every destination looks attractive. It looks like once you don't know where you are going everywhere. And that means you are going nowhere. Because everywhere you go, it look like where you are going. But because it's not where you are going, you are going to pay a big price for alighting at the wrong stop. You see what I'm saying? So the idea is to find, you know, people, books, materials that can guide you into your necessary rebellion. I call it creative rebellion. The ability to understand the influences that have been deposited into your life, and that has to begin with your own resistance for you to find your nest. Okay? And the same ability to know the expiry of a season. And when you say season, you are defining people, places, and events. Because people expire in your life. Geographies expire in your life. Moments expire in your life. It's not just products and services that expire. There are intangibles that expire. There are tangibles like human beings that expire. There are also geographies that can expire. You can be overqualified for where you are living. You can be overqualified for where you are working. You can be overqualified for the level of business you are doing that you need newness. The ability to birth newness begins with clarity to understand that expiry has come. A rebellion is needed inside of you to reject that state and to begin to curate, architect a new experience for your life, right? Now, it's the same way I look at Pan-Africanism. And let me drop this here. You know, a lot of people push Pan-Africanism in weakness because what they think it is and what they think it's about is to reject everything foreign, right? And however right or wrong, and hold on to what is local and what is cultural and what is tradition for us. What it means is that when you think like that, it forces you into a hypocritical state, because you will say you don't want to wear suits, you want to wear only African wear, but you're going to take a plane to go and give a talk on why you should not wear suits. You should have jogged or rode a camel to where you are going. You shouldn't have, since you don't want to wear suits. It's not just suits that is Western. So many things are Western, right? You should reject so many things that are Western so that you can really be African, because there's nothing like that anymore. There's now borrowed, shared existence. That's how the world is. So there are things in you that will never be enough for you, and you have to reach out to the other person. I call it the power of top. The power of top takes you to the tops.
Wow.
The power, so you are tops.
Yes.
And the power of top is what takes you to that. Top is an acronym for the other person. Top is an acronym for the other person. So the power of the other person is what takes you to the top. You see? So top there is T-O-P, the other person. That's the power of top, the power of the other person. Ultimately, your greatest advancement starts within you, but we have to collaborate with other people to find its highest meaning, right? So this is how we have to think. So what I say to people, to Pan-Africanists, is don't reject what is Western. Begin with your own self-audit. There are things in the African reality that cannot take us into the future. We have to identify those things and reject them. There are things in the African reality that are necessary for our future forever. We have to know those things and preserve them and know how to protect those things. But there are also things around the world, in the West, in Asia, that we don't need for our future. We must know those things and reject them. But there are equal number of things in the West and in Asia, across the world, that are necessary for our future. We must identify those things and embrace those things. Only as we share culture, as we share energy, as we share the nutrients that define us as a people or as individuals with other people and other geographies, that we define our collective strength and our individual relevance. That is how it works. So there is singularity that can only be meaningful in plurality. So there is individuality that can only be meaningful in diversity, right? There is unity that can only be meaningful in diversity. That is how we have to think. And so unmute your mic for me is a deliberate commitment to understand that you are awesome, you are amazing, you are enough, but for a start, that you go all through your journey, you are still enough, but only as you connect that enoughness to the enoughness of others to build your ultimate meaning. That is how it works. And that can be from the way you talk, to the way you work, to the way you sit, and all of those nuances, actions, behaviors, attitude, mentality, and so many things that are just amazingly relevant in a season, but are against you in another.
Wow. Wow. There's so much to unpack right there. Thank you so much, PK. Wow. Wow. So to unmute is not just an act of self.
No.
It has to be with a lot of collaboration,
Yes.
partnership, joint ventures.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
In fact, let me say this to you,
Yes.
Tops. Let me say this. And let me say this to everybody here today. You can go very far working on yourself alone. But that super place that you are born to maximize in your existence, you will never get there if you don't know how to collaborate. Collaboration is the final step to your ultimate destiny. It's collaboration. If you don't learn to step out of all that you understand and all that you know and begin to plug into the power that other people have, right? There's just a limit to what you can do. On your own, you will do a lot, but your ultimate will require that you collaborate and you partner, right? That's just the way it works.
Wow. Thank you so much, PK. I mean, somebody said there's a lot to unpack. Really, there is a lot to unpack. Somebody's already saying I suck at collaboration. Well, this is the time to unmute your
This
mic.
is it.
So, wow. So to take this to the next level, because I'm also thinking now that we know that we can do enough on our own, but to really get to the ultimate, I mean, there's a lot of collaborations. And in fact, collaboration is the new competition.
Yeah.
Because the idea of competition, I really want us to speak a little bit about that as well. I don't know if it is ingrained in us or it is the culture or it is, system or the programming, like you said, while growing up. We are natural at competing. Naturally, competition always comes over collaboration, in the mainstream. So I don't know, how can we begin to deactivate the programming of competition and then begin to activate or download the program of collaboration over competition?
So yeah, I mean, competition is the wretchedness of the human condition, right? It's not something you learn. It's just where we are born, right? There's just something in you that sends signals that a part of you will not be complete until you can wrestle someone away from their own place. It's jungle behavior. It's in animals, but it's instinctively in animals. Is reasonably in humans, right? And so it's something we have to reject. Is what we call in the Christian faith sin nature, where you don't need to learn, and you don't need formal training to know how to be stupid. You don't need formal training to learn how to be foolish. You don't need formal training. You don't need to go to school to learn how to get angry.
Yes, sir.
So you don't need to go to school to learn the negatives. You don't need any teacher to teach you how to be corrupt. You don't need anyone. Corruption does not need a classroom, but wisdom needs a classroom. You just can't be You just can't figure life out without learning. But you don't need nothing to not figure out life out. You know, to destroy your life, you don't need one classroom. You don't need one mentor. You just need to be human and don't learn, and you will naturally destroy your life. You don't need formal training to know how to be foolish. You don't need any form of classroom or guidance to know how to be unguarded, right? These are, you know, I won't call them qualities, but these are, you know, natural experiences of all human beings. Now, in different degrees. Now, depending on the adults that received you into the world, you know, depending on the quality of those adults, right? They can now help you determine the degree of expression of that nuisance.
Yes.
But that wretchedness is in everyone, right? A part of you just want to compete. But to be really aligned, to really have congruence, right, in life, you will need to put competition in perspective. In business, if you drive your work by competition, it's only a matter of time before you die. You see, part of the reason why Kodak died is not just because they rejected digital film. Part of why they died was that they were thinking competition. The same thing with Yahoo. The same thing with Nokia. The moment you start thinking competition, you have reduced your bar of exceptionalism to the thinking and character of your competitor, your so-called competitor. So there's a study I read one time, and that was when a gentleman was CEO of Coca-Cola. His name was Roberto Goizueta. Roberto Goizueta. Roberto Goizueta is the first staff of a company to become a billionaire. He never owned Coca-Cola. He was the first, in the Guinness Book of Records, the first staff of a company, the first partner
not a,
of a company.
founder.
You know, he's not a founder. He didn't start a business. He was a staff all through his life. But he was the first staff. You could check it. Roberto, Roberto, Goizueta, Goizueta. Roberto Goizueta is the first staff of a company to become a billionaire, not a millionaire, not a multi-millionaire, to become a billionaire. So those who say you can't be rich working for somebody are yet to understand something at a higher level.
Wow.
Right? But let's leave that there. Another day we'll discuss that. But you can be rich working for someone. It's just that being rich is not a goal of life. You see? So there's no point camping around it like being rich is everything. You can be rich working for someone. There's so much you cannot get whether you work for yourself or you work for someone. And it has nothing to do with being rich. You see? But let's leave that there as well. So the idea was, it was CEO of Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola. Pepsi Cola was beating Coca-Cola in the butt. Now, there's a book called Execution, written by Ramcharan. There's a book called, it's an old book, not very old, but somewhere in the 90s. A book called Execution by Ramcharan and somebody else, but I remember Ramcharan, right? If you get that book, the story is there. So this particular case was a time when Pepsi Cola was kicking Coca-Cola in the butt everywhere. The ads everywhere. Coca-Cola was just losing market share, you know, and Pepsi was taking over everywhere in America. And this was a meeting of Coca-Cola management and strategists, you know, and they were all worried that Pepsi is going to beat us out of the market. We have to do something and all of that. And everybody was losing motivation, losing steam, worried stiff. And Roberto was the CEO and he was just watching. And then from nowhere, he asked a question. And he said, sorry, what is our share of the beverage industry? And they mentioned a figure, okay? What is Pepsi's share of the beverage industry? Then they mentioned it. So he said, so we are both trying to, both Coca-Cola and Pepsi are looking for space within the beverage space. Now, he now asks, what is the market? What is the share of beverage in the fluid market?
Okay.
because Pepsi and Coca-Cola are just a type of fluid.
Yes.
They are not the only fluid.
Juice.
There are so many other fluids, including water, that they are not considering. Yes. So Roberto made them to understand that if we keep worrying about the beverage industry, it's like we are all swimming in a pond when there is a river out there. It's like we are all swimming, looking for space in a river when there are oceans right there. So he said, instead of me thinking of the share of Coca-Cola in the beverage industry, I'm going to think of the share of the stomach. We want a share of the stomach, which is where all fluids are coming. So once you think of the stomach, you are not thinking of water, because everybody taking Coca-Cola is trying to take water.
Yes.
Everyone taking Pepsi is trying to take water. Everyone taking Coca-Cola is trying to take water. Everyone taking Pepsi or 7-Up or any soft drink in the world is trying to take water. Everyone taking ice cream is trying to take water. No matter how much ice cream you take, no matter how much Coca-Cola you take, no matter how much Pepsi you take, you are still going to land taking water. So if you are going to think of competition at all, it's better to think of water, because water is a better competition. But bigger than water is the share of the stomach. Is the share of the stomach. Whoa, that was light. He turned the bulb on and said, let Coca-Cola, let us leave the share of the beverage industry. Let's think of Coca-Cola. Let's think of the share of the stomach. It means we can produce water. It means we can produce so many other products. We can produce, health drinks. We can produce so much more than the chemical called soft drink, right? And that changed the game. They adjusted their strategy. In no time, to this very day, Pepsi was put in perspective, because somebody cared to think beyond the competition. So if you compete with color, sooner than later, somebody will have your color. If you compete with your logo, somebody will have a better logo. Because somebody will be more creative than you. If you compete with strategy, somebody will copy you. If you compete with pricing, it's only a matter of time. You will cut it from $100 to $90. You cut it from $90. After a while, you begin to cut into your cost. You and your competitor are all going to die. The only way to exist is to be a monopoly, where you offer something of such intrinsic value that there's no comparison to it. And with due respect, when people ask me, here and anywhere I am in the world, who is your competitor? I say, I don't have. I said, but I believe there are people who believe I'm their competitor, but I'm not aware of them. I don't think of them at all. You see, there's enough war going on inside me. There's limitless options going on inside of me of how I can do what I do for me to worry about anybody else.
Wow.
So I don't even have the energy for that distraction. People say, oh, you talk about your ideas so easily, people can copy you. I say, look, it's coming from here. They can never copy as much as I can create. And people who worry about being copied usually stole the idea themselves. So they know how ideas can be stolen. That is why they are afraid of it being stolen. If you created the idea 0 to 1, if they create 200, you create 201. I mean, it's endless. You are swimming in an ocean. I mean, I'm not trying to catch a tilapia fish. If I want to do that, I will stay in a pond. I'm going for sharks and dolphins and whales. They don't even exist in a pond at all. You can't find a shark in a pond. So I can't even compete with you. You are swimming in a pond. I'm in the ocean. I'm trying to catch a big shark. Sharks are not found in the river. You don't find a lion in the next building. You want a lion, you have to go into the jungle. I'm a jungle bird. I'm right there. I mean, doing all I have to do. So once you understand that, you work on yourself and create something of such weighty, intrinsic value that there is no substitute for it. There's no competition. It's not about competition. There's no substitute. So they can say they can't afford you. It's fine. They can say you are too expensive. It's fine. But let them not say something is better than you. That is the problem. That is when you are down to competition. So you are in a space where I'm not trying to get everybody's attention. Like the church invited me the other day, and they said they use interpreters. I said, you just lost me. I can't. Interpreters slow my thinking. In fact, the interpreter becomes my problem. I'm now trying to speak, and I'm trying to manage, another entity there who is quite frankly incapable of even interpreting what I'm saying, or capable of finding the adjectives that qualify it. So in his own language. So I mean, how does he? If I say, you know, we have to manage downsizing, how does he say that to the people? How does he say downsizing in Yoruba? How does he even begin to explain that? So I said, I can't deal. So find somebody else. Now, is that a loss for me? No, that is commitment to the limits of my own ocean, right? I don't come into that space at all. It's not for me. Somebody else can go there. It's not for me, right? So you have to understand that and get away from competition, because when you compete, both you and your competitor are all going into the same coffin. Like I say, it's just two people trying to find a better space in one coffin, right? Get out of that and begin to produce at a level. So all the guys in my space who work in my space anywhere, I'm in America now. I mean, people will say, are you worried about, are you not worried about Anthony Robbins? Are you not worried about Seth Godin? I said, I'm not worried about nobody. There's enough space. Do you know how many birds are in the sky, Tops? Do you know how many birds are in the sky?
No,
How many birds are in the sky?
no idea. No
I
idea.
kid you not. I kid you not. About, as at my last check, about 40 billion birds.
Wow.
Billions of birds are in the sky. That is about 5 birds to every human being. 40 billion, and they don't hit each other.
Wow.
They don't have accidents in the air. If they have an accident, a human being has shot them, or a plane has hit them. In their own ecology, they don't disturb each other. Everybody is flying 8 billion. And can I shock you?
Yes, sir.
If you go outside right now and look into the sky, I'm not sure you can see 8 birds in the sky right now. Meanwhile, 40 billion. 40 billion of them are in the sky. Beat that.
Wow.
Beat that. Do you know how many ants are in the world? Do you know how many ants are in the world?
I think it's,
I'll tell you.
I don't know.
20 quadrillion.
Wow.
20 quadrillion. That is 2.5 billion ants to one individual. For each human being. And there are 8 billion human beings. So each human being, there are 2.5 billion ants out there. So how do you begin to articulate competition? So the moment you compete, it is a deep, acute ignorance of your own difference. It's a very deep, dark ignorance of your difference. At the highest level, nobody rewards you for your similarities. You are rewarded for your difference. Wow. But the strength of competition is highlighting similarities. It's a battle on the ground of similarities. But your greatest rewards in life don't come to your similarities. They come to your difference. Your difference is your critical success factor. Your difference is your critical relevance factor. Your difference is your critical greatness factor. Your difference is your personal power. It's really your personal power. And that is where we all have to work from. When you understand that, then you are standing in your creation, right? You are now standing in your essence. You are standing in your meaning. You are standing in your power. That's the way it works. So, boom.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow, that is a lot. I mean, I'm typing on my laptop at the same time, you know, because I must not miss those points. That is really powerful, PK. I'm going to get a book called Execution as well. I'm going to get that.
It's a great book. It's a great book. It's a great book.
PK, talking about
Ram Charan is an incredible individual out there that everybody should study. He's dying. He's now old, and he will leave the world soon. But if he has not left, I'm not sure. But that's a major contributor to how we interpret business.
Ram Charan.
So, yes, go ahead, Tops.
So, I mean, looking at the big moment, because really, I personally think that the concept or the idea of unmuting our minds is really towards the big moments, positioning for the big moments. And I know that the big moments, you know, just like you often say that there is always an eyes within an observable view that is capable of lifting a man. There's an eyes that is within, is observing us as individuals and is capable of lifting, you know, anyone in their state. I really want us to just move to that dimension right now, because as we build, it is really for the big purpose, the bigger day. right? How do we position for those big moments?
Yeah. So so part of that again is to highlight the fact that whether we like it or not, we are not designing our ultimate. We are zoning into our ultimate. We are leaning into our ultimate. We are aligning into our ultimate. So what is true is that there is a destination for you. And what you are doing is aligning with the path to that destination, right? Your moments, your biggest moments are not going to be created by you. They're going to be delivered to you by the universe. God has designed the universe to release moments into your life, and those moments are clocked within a when and a where. So that's space-time. Most people try to make a distinction between time and space, and that is why they find it difficult to move into their moments, their big moments, because you can't have time without having space. You can't have space without having time. It's not possible. You can't have a when without a where. You can't have a where without a when. When and where exist together. Anywhere you are in a when. You can't recognize a where without being in a when. And you cannot be in a when except you are dead. Except you are out of this body. You can't be in a when and not be in a where.
Yes.
You see? So God is not bound by when and where, because God can be everywhere in any time. So that is a different type of measurement. But as human beings, we are limited by matter, the things that have weight and occupy space. Therefore, we have to elevate beyond that limit to appreciate the gift of space-time. And the moment you understand space-time, what you then see is that every design of heaven for you is designed in such a way that it will come to you with a when and a where. So the idea is when and where themselves and every intangible movement in the world are led by human beings. You see? So it doesn't matter who you were born to or not born to. There's an I. Listen, an I bigger than you is always watching you. An I capable of changing your life in a moment. The I may not know you. Let's be clear. You may not know the I. Let's be clear. But at the right time, there's something called divine orchestrations, where experiences in the human condition transcends the limits of logic and intelligence. Logic and intelligence can help you maximize a moment, but the arrival of the moment is not in your hand. And everybody agrees with that. The book, Richest Man in Babylon, which is a very popular book, underscores the fact that you can't really point to what you did really to bring your moments.
Wow.
You really can't. You can point to what you did to get into the moment, to sustain the moment, but you can't point to what you really did that ushered in that moment. The moment is not within your control. And there's always an I. There's a human being. For Barack Obama, it was John Kerry, right? It was that moment in the I've forgotten the year, but the year he gave a speech at the Democratic Convention. He wasn't running for president. He was just a strong Democratic official, a very young one. And the mentor said, "Lee, use his own power and give him the stage." He made that speech, and everybody knew a president is right there. And a few years after he was running, he was president, all those who supported him are those who heard that voice that day. And they heard the voice of a president in that ordinary moment. You see, for different people, for TD Jakes, it was Paul Crouch. It was Paul Crouch who got home one day and was very tired and put on his TV, and TD Jakes' an advert of a conference called Azusa or something came up. And in that advert, TD Jakes was one of the speakers, but he was unknown at that time. He was just coming up at that time. And you know how they play different speakers for just like 10 seconds, you know, just promo for 10 seconds. That was just the few seconds that Paul Crouch heard and said, that is not an ordinary voice. So the universe arranged it that Paul Crouch was getting home, getting on the TV at the time when that advert was coming out, and I saw that moment. TD Jakes was not even aware. He wasn't aware of TD Jakes, but at the right time, there was the universe light as designed by God to flash on that moment, and he saw TD Jakes, and that was TD Jakes on TBN right there, and that's how everything changed. You see, there's always an I bigger than you in every moment that will change your life in a moment. I tell people, perform for that I and that I alone. By that, I don't mean start hustling, start looking for the I. Be ignorant of the I. Be aware of yourself. And keep working on yourself. Put up your best self. Communicate at the highest level possible.
Yes, sir.
Show up at the highest level possible. Work at the highest level possible. Think at the highest level possible. Study, research, network, collaborate at the highest level possible. Dress at the highest level possible. Highest level possible within your capacity. Don't do the Joneses. For example, performing at the highest level in education does not mean you have to go to Harvard. But it does mean you must go for the education you can afford, not the education I can afford.
Yes,
but if you ignore that which you have capacity for, you play to your own weakness and disempower yourself from the reality designed for you. So when you do all of that, that I, one day, in a moment, and I believe in a lifetime, you will have 7 opportunities, minimum, to connect that eye at different phases of your life. And that one visit of that eye will change your trajectory completely. I don't know one king in the world. I don't know one queen in the world who has risen to any level of prominence and cannot plot those moments of the big eye, those big eye moments. Now, what do you need to do while your big moment is coming? Message, platform, be clear about your message and audit everything to the quality of your message. Avoid anything that is not in your message. Embrace anything that exists within your message. Let things qualify for the investment of your time, your energy, and your moments. But the standard of that qualification is your message. What are you about, right? For me, I'm about helping people find their highest self, their highest power globally, right? And also the defense and the promotion of the faith of Christ that I understand, and to push it at the highest level, to climb the highest mountain possible and fly the flag of my faith there. That is what I'm about. And everything I come in contact with, people, place, or thing, I'm going to deal with that question. What does this thing have to do with what I represent? If I can't find the connection, whether you are Bill Gates or you are a pauper, it doesn't make a difference. There must be a connection between who you are, what you represent, and where I'm going, right? And then knowing your message, knowing the platforms that we represent, right? So my Indaba is a platform. My Zero to Hero seminar I used to run is a platform. Outnovate is your platform. This is the platform right there. So you have platform of expression, right? For let's come home. Let's come home. Let's go to Pastor Kojo Yemade, for example. Platform is a platform for him, right? For Bishop Oyedeko Shilo is a platform. The church itself, Sunday in, Sunday out. For Elevation, Exponential is a platform. The church itself is a platform. You see what I'm saying? Everyone has a platform. For TD Jakes, there's Woman Thou Art Lose. There is Manpower. You know, there are platforms that must express you. Your platform include your podcast, for example. This is the digital world now. So your website is a platform. Your podcast is a platform. Your newsletters are platforms, right? So these are all platforms that are representing your message. And then your products, that is the things that can travel faster than you can ever move. Your products can go to where you can never go, can reach more people than you can ever physically reach, and can stay with people longer than you can ever stay with them. So if you buy my book or you buy my CDs or you get any of my work, that work can stay with you longer than I can stay with you. That work can travel faster than I can ever travel. That work can be shared and referred faster than I can ever refer myself. It can speak for me faster than I can speak for myself. These are not options in life. These are duties as powerful as your food, as powerful as your dressing. You know, if you have time to feed, if you have time to have your bath, if you have time to shave, if you have time to fix your hair and to wear a perfume, you have time to focus on your message, to focus on your platform and your products. I tell people there's no such thing as busy. There's no such thing as busy. You have time. You have time. Once you say you don't have time, you are doing something unnecessary. You are doing something unnecessary, right? You have enough time for all that you have to do. It's 24 hours for the fool. It's 24 hours for the wise. Nobody has 23 hours because they are unserious. Nobody has 24 because they are smart. Everybody has 24. And so you have time. Don't let anybody fool you that you are busy. You are not busy. I mean, if 2 plus 2 is 4, and 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, then 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2 plus 2 because they are both equal to 4. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So if Bill Gates says he's busy and you also say you are busy, wow. So you and Bill Gates are equal then, since you are both equal to busy. So I always tell people I'm not busy. Maybe when I become a billionaire or a trillionaire, maybe I will question myself of that principle again, of that idea again, whether I'm really busy. At this point in time, if I'm not Elon Musk, if I don't have the relevance, the power, the authority of the US president, I am not busy. I have time for all I have to do.
Wow.
And whatever it is I cannot do, then I don't need to do it. I will apologize to people for not being able to show up for them when they need me to. And I always tell people, your goal in life is to always know what is most important and then to focus on it. And then to have the courage to watch other things undone. To watch other things undone. The one who will be stressed is the one that wants to do everything. You can't do everything. You can't sort everybody out. So you need the wisdom to know what is most critical. And then you need the courage to watch other things undone. Is the way life works. There's always alternative for gone. There's always opportunity cost. There's always a scale of preference. There's always unlimited ones. And your choices make the difference as to what you focus your energy, which is a limited resource, on. Okay?
Wow.
That's it.
I feel like that is the moment that somebody's really done. Wow. Wow.
So, Tops,
Yes.
I don't know how we're going to manage this, but there's a phone call I have to take by 2:30.
Okay, sir.
By 2:30.
Okay.
That is in another
12 minutes.
Another 12 minutes.
Wow.
So keep that in mind.
So we have just questions. I mean, I'm done with the questions that I
Great.
just about of them.
Maybe we take one or two.
Every other one. But people ask questions from the comment section. I mean, you really touched on mine even before I asked. And so I'm just going to take the 2 that came in very quickly. Somebody said that so I think these are just questions about how to join the live. How do I ask for? No. You are too late. You're ready. I'm sure because we're wrapping up already. So we can't take that question. Somebody wants to join the live, they can watch the video. I've been seeing people asking, how did they access the video? It's going to be on our page. You're going to find it on PK's page and on my page, so you can watch it after. So very quickly, we are taking questions because of time. We have just about 10 minutes more. If you have any questions, this is the best time to take them. We're going to be taking 2. So the first 2 questions that come